All right, you're on, Billy.
Great. Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Tobacco Road Weekly. So happy to join you guys. We've got, as always, Stevie Fly, and we liked him so much. Our last podcast, we brought him back, Chris and Dreesen. Guys, how's it going tonight?
It's good, Billy. How are you?
Doing good, man. We want to talk some ACC basketball. We're wrapping up the season this year. Just finished the ACC tournament. But we could talk that over a little bit and then talk about the few teams that did make it to the NCAA tournament from the ACC and how we think they're going to measure up going in. So let's dive into it. So, guys, the ACC tournament. All right, I'm still trying to adjust to it being on Saturday night because it's just not right.
It's not right.
So that was hard. I'm going to skip over real quick the Wolfpack season. It was mercifully over quickly.
What?
So that was a good thing. So they were out pretty fast. And soon to follow, well, not too soon to follow was Virginia, but and Carolina. But
we set some pretty lowly records on the way out, though, did the Cavaliers. And as I told you guys, first of all, Billy, you said, how are things? Dare we say this is the best time of the year? Right? ACC tournament bleeding into the NCAAs. I mean, this has got to be one of the best weeks of the year. But yeah, UVA's performance, especially against UNC, was disappointing. But even the game against Louisville was a struggle. So as I told you all, the last time I was on the show, I was on a high from beating Duke, but we had a fatal flaw, which was not being able to find someone to hit a shot. And that came back to bite us. So we'll fight on in the NIT. What can I say?
Well, at least you got invited to NIT.
How's NC State baseball going, Billy?
Not as good as it was.
It started off great.
Started hot. What was Tommy Tanks was cranking them out of the yard.
Look, before we get into this ACC tournament, we're the elephant in the room that you're failing to mention was 2 Saturday nights ago in Cameron when the farewell tour was screeched to a halt by the Tar Heels. And, I didn't see it coming. I'm not going to lie to you. I honestly thought there was no way that they would let Carolina go in Cameron and win that game. I thought that they would have the National Guard. They would have every crappy referee there was to make these bad calls if it got close. But the thing that killed me, and here's where they messed up all week, and the media, it was not only if Duke would win, but it was how much by. Would it be by double digits or would it be, So that's where they messed up there. What have we said all along? You don't give a team bulletin board material. And I mean, going into this game, Carolina already had bulletin board material because they had big ceremony. They had all the players, which was cool. I had no problem with it. They had all the players come back. And, but did you guys not feel like even before the game, they were already thinking we've won this game. We really don't have to do anything. We've won this game.
Well, there was the entitlement. He should just be given this game, right?
Thank you for using that word.
And to be quiet. So hats off to Carolina and hats off to Hubie for he had them ready. They play great basketball, and Carolina has been hot and cold all year. We know that. Well, they were hot at Cameron.
Yeah.
And going to Cameron after they got crushed. I mean, we know all bets are off when Carolina plays Duke. I mean, they're usually really good games, but I didn't see it coming. And they owned Duke.
Oh, I did.
The whole game. I mean, I think it was halftime three-pointer going in the locker room. Drain. I don't know if Love hit that three-pointer going in the locker room at halftime. But you're going, so. Okay. And it just kept going. And Krzyzewski, it was nothing he could just stop it. It just, his players did not respond for him. And maybe it's the youth. I don't know, but they did not respond for him. So Chris is biting at the bit to jump in.
Well, I was just going to say, and I think I mentioned this to you guys on that evening. I was struck after the game at the lack of emotion from the team.
Me too.
Now, again, maybe they had just gotten reamed out, possibly. But to me, as I watched that game, and then as I watched Saturday night's game, I saw a lot of the same characteristics. And to me, that that's a troublesome trait for a team like that. Like they didn't have that emotion in the big. Again, every game's huge. They had that emotion at Chapel Hill. They didn't have it at Cameron. They didn't have it Saturday night. And to me, that, and I honestly, I saw a little bit. I was a little scratching my head about Coach K. I mean, it was getting away, and he was sitting there, and we saw the same. Now, maybe at some certain point in time, you just like, look, we're not going to beat this team tonight. But I didn't see that, resolve from the Duke squad in the last two sort of big games that I watched them play.
I mean, if you can't get up for your coach, and
one of the quotes from one of the players after the game was, there was so much pressure on us to win that game. It was such a big game, and it was too much pressure. Okay, if you're feeling pressure from a regular season game, what are you going to do? What does this tell you about when you get to a championship game? I mean, if you get, how much pressure is in that? How much pressure is in the NCAA tournament? One and done, you go home. This is what I go, Billy. We've been talking about this for 2 years, ever since we started doing this. The one and dones, the lack of experience in the big games, and feeling the pressure gets to these one and done teams. Virginia Tech, how many seniors does Virginia Tech have? Didn't they have like two fifth-year seniors?
Yeah, they have 50-year guys and grad guys. So you've got the experience coming in there. So
experience, and knowing how to handle that pressure.
Well, in the day, Carolina came in and they got the last laugh on that one, and get to go out with the last win against Krzyzewski the last time they played. So it looks like the last time they'll play, unless somehow they meet the tournament. I don't know if the brackets match up that way. They should have set it up that way for that to potentially happen.
That it won't happen that way. Carolina's going to, they've got Marquette first, and if they get by there, you got Baylor.
I was saying Billy's writing quite a script. Duke and UNC in the Final Four meeting up.
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Carolina gets to ride off of that. Now, the other thing that definitely made for interesting bulletin board material is the lack of handshake at the end of the game. I think some lack of class on the Duke part.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
listen,
Carroll.
I'm sure Krzyzewski had some choice words for them. That made him look really bad. It just was not the night. I did really enjoy the fans' reaction and their disbelief of this. We were supposed to have this big win tonight, and it didn't happen. So I can't say I was overly upset about that.
And another thing I want to bring up right quick, because I was bombarded, even though all I said, the only quote I made, only thing I put on Facebook was simple: crickets. And that's all I heard. But, people were talking about Carolina fans need to stay classy, which I agree that there were some things that were not classy. Of course, I don't agree with that. But you're going to sit there and tell me they're not Duke fans, State fans, Virginia fans, every team has fans that are not classy.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, and look, I tried to make my point. There was I can't remember the player. It was a few years back for Carolina. The Cameron Crazies made fun of him. One of his parents passed away. They were harping on that. Did you see the picture of the girl flipping off the Carolina players as they left the court?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but she was flipping them off, telling them to go to hell when they were going off the court. So I guess their little halos that the Duke fans have were shined up really good. You know, and don't. But here's the thing: don't come telling Carolina fans to be classy when shoes on the other foot. Your coach won't shake hands with our coach, and one of them, when he shook hands, wouldn't even look at him. And then your fans do something like that. Come on, don't give me that crap. And I mean, people will say I'm biased. That's fine, but that's just the way it goes. You got to be. They didn't have a problem shaking hands when they went over to the Dean Dome and crushed Carolina. And nobody, I don't think any of the Carolina coaches didn't shake hands with them. So Chris Carrawell, stop being a little pansy and own up to a loss, because you got handed one.
Well, what really got me, so, kind of transition to ACC tournament. So got the tournament, like I said, mercifully State goes out quick. And we've had some really good games, actually, with that tournament. So, you've got Virginia Tech, who wouldn't even got that far unless they had a buzzer beater, to move on. And I believe, what was that against Boston? No, Clemson, who knocked out State.
Yeah.
Who's not a great basketball team. So they barely survive. We had a couple more overtime games, buzzer beaters. Chris, you guys squeaked out the first one or second one, right?
Yeah, we squeaked out our first win, low scoring affair, and then we couldn't score the second one. But yeah, you had BC beating Wake at the end, and then they got clipped by Miami the other way.
Yep.
So that was there were some good games sort of leading into the semifinal and the final rounds for sure.
There were. Now the record you don't want to hold is the least points scored in a half, which I guess Virginia held with 13. So
13. Can you believe that?
I didn't see that coming.
In 20 minutes, 13 points.
That's pretty rough. I think State had something to do with that one regular season game, but not during the tournament. It's going hard to win like that.
Well, you won't win, right? I mean, I think that's the bottom line. And it was, some shots were really bad, but again, when you don't have somebody who can go to say, all right, Billy, you got to get us a bucket here. We just couldn't find it. There was a couple, like every game, there was a couple that were sort of in and out. You're like, oh, that was close. But then I've never seen so many air balls. Kihei, I mean, he was trying to get it over Baycott, who I think he thought was about 8 feet tall.
Well, compared to
falling short,
he is like 8 foot tall.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you had these shooters who, when they shot the ball, you could tell they knew it wasn't going in, so it was short.
Yeah.
And so you can't, you're just not going to compete that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty rough. Luckily for me, my kids were all asleep, so they didn't have to see that. I just had to tell them about it in the morning. But yeah, and I stayed with it till the bitter end, but it was brutal.
Yeah. Well, revenge was had by the Hokies. So who thought you would be avenged by the Hokies, Chris?
Well, I go back to what the old football coach Dennis Green. They are who we thought we were. I feel like a few weeks ago we were all talking about Virginia Tech, this team that they had a lot of potential. Yeah. They stumbled, right? But when you look at them, they can beat you in all three phases of the game, on both sides. And again, whether it was, as you said, Billy, they got some luck by hitting some shots at the end of games, but then after that, it was they just mowed everybody down. It wasn't even close.
It was hustle. They played harder than every team they played. I thought.
They did. They wanted it. They wanted it every game. They wanted it more than the team they were playing.
And you've got to love what 3 guys these came from Wofford.
Right.
They're not, and they have a transfer from a junior college too, I believe. Maybe Guilford College. And these guys take down Carolina. They take down Duke. They win the ACC championship. Mike Young, you got to give the man some credit. They stumbled. They could have folded. They pulled it together. Again, Murphy, if you can't like this kid, the smallest guy on the court is coming up with a loose ball. And I don't know if you saw him for that. The dude was super pumped. He plays with so much energy and enthusiasm. It's contagious. But all of them, do. But a surprise. Question
Billy, his name is Storm. Come on, you're a little you're badass if your name is Storm. So
has to be.
That's like the what was when they had the Gulf War. One of the correspondents from CNN's name was Wolf Blitzer, like made up name for the war. Okay, come on, Storm. Yeah, Storm's going to be great.
Or Murphy. Well, if the basketball doesn't work out, he could be a weatherman. So I mean, so that'd be perfect for him. But I would have to say that was a great game. So Duke not only fails and lets Krzyzewski down for his last home game, they can't deliver the championship to him for his, the last game of the ACC. They let him down twice. That's incredible. And they didn't. They got outplayed, hands down.
Yeah.
The game, I don't know. It was a charge, and it was a charge. Krzyzewski lost his mind because just lost his mind. I thought he was going to get thrown out, but you could see his desperation. And after that, it was like he basically just like it's over.
Right, that was it.
We're not going to win. And he knew it. So it was crazy to watch that go down like that.
Yeah, but it was a fitting end. I mean, like we all said, Tech earned it.
They did,
and I think that's what we all want. Whoever we root for, that's what we want for the ACC. That's the team you want to win it all. You don't, you want the team that works harder than everybody else to get it, even if they are your bitter rival. I mean, I enjoyed watching that brand of basketball. It was pretty strong.
I have to admit, I was sitting there and I was jealous. I was jealous of watching that kind of basketball with guys like that hustling and playing the way they did, and seeing guys come from small colleges and universities come out and produce that aren't the one and dones, that aren't the incredible athletes.
Exactly.
They're just hard-nosed basketball players that play as a team and play smart. It's fun to see them come out on the winning end. You get kind of tired of just the talent winning out every time. The Kentuckys, and the talent's going to win out a lot, but not that night. So
let's be honest, Billy. You see yourself there. You're like, you were always out there working harder, hustling, diving on the ball. You weren't the blue chip, but you were the guy putting in the work.
Not a prize athlete, that's for sure. So I had to hustle, but yes, I was
exactly. That's why you appreciate it so much.
Well, the irony there too is, I mean, that's what Duke used to be, right? And that's why I used to like Duke basketball. They used to be the team that was scrap and get every loose ball and hustle and play hard defense. That's not them anymore.
That's changed. That's
changed.
What's that saying? What's that saying about talent? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's fitting. That should be the slogan of this ACC tournament.
Yeah. Well, it turned out to be a pretty darn good tournament, and an enjoyable tournament to watch. So, that takes us where we are. Virginia Tech had to win that game to get in the tournament. That looks very clear at this point when you look at the way things broke down. So we've got 5 teams in the tournament from the ACC. I think our early on predictions, we were predicting maybe 4, possibly 5. It looks like we got 5 just because Virginia Tech won. So Duke's a number 2 seed. Miami's in at a number 10. Notre Dame's at 11. Carolina's at 8. Virginia Tech's at 11. So what do you guys think? Do you think Wake Forest got the old Scroogey, or do you think they deserve to get in?
Wake Forest slumped at the end, and I think that's what did them in. I mean, losing early on in the tournament, that was probably the final straw for them. Here's a question for you, and run it through your head right here. Virginia Tech wins the ACC tournament championship. They've won I know going into the tournament, I think they've won 12 out of 14, so maybe they've won 14 out of 16 now. They're an 11 seed. How in the immortal HELL is Michigan in the tournament at a number 11 seed with a 14-12 record? Answer that question for me.
Michigan? I don't know.
I think it comes down to, Stevie, and I watched a lot of Big Ten basketball. The Big Ten, I guess, between they and the Big 12, they certainly were up there as one of the top conferences. So, but I agree with you when you watch them, and like I said, I was watching Michigan. And again, they went out early in their conference tournament to a game they had to have to IU. So to me, they were sort of over. They were there was too much respect for that.
Exactly.
Given to them.
That's an NIT record right there. That's not a NCAA tournament record unless you win your conference championship. That's a NIT record.
Right. And they were always, I mean, comfortably, they were one of the bottom, last 8, right? But they were always one of the top 2 that were going to get in. So that says something about the resume. I'll be honest, just looking at this bracket, it's really interesting. I mean, the fact that you got the 5 ACC teams, but there's a lot of mid-majors and, non-power 5s in this tournament, which is, to me, that's kind of fun. Now, again, I don't have.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting,
Chris, so I got the breakdown right here. So you got 9 teams from the Big Ten. You got 6 from the SEC. You got 6 from the Big East, 6 from the Big 12, 5 from the ACC, 4 from the Mountain West, 3 from the WCC, 3 Pac-12, and 2 A-10. So I don't think the Mountain West usually has 4 teams.
Right.
I could be wrong on that. So, but you're right. I mean, look at the seed Colorado State's got. I mean, they got maybe have a solid basketball team. I don't know. It's hard to say. It looks like they do. But you're right. You're seeing a lot of teams not just making the tournament, but a higher seeds than a lot of these bigger schools going into here that we would think would have. So
why do you think that? Why do you think that?
Experience, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we all could agree when the college basketball, and again, it's going to go through another evolution here with the NIL stuff. It is changing significantly. I've seen the growing pains for Virginia with the transfer portal and everything else, So I think we all touched on that over the last couple of years of this show. But at the end of the day, you can't match last weekend, all the different action in the different games, and then this week coming up. There's nothing like it. I don't care what changes are made. It is just so fun.
Well, because
March Madness,
Chris, from not the good end of the experience, but there could be some crazy upsets here, and then you can turn around your season next year, win the national championship. So I mean, that's why we love this. There are going to be some crazy upsets. Who's going to be the Cinderella this year? Who's going to be that team that come out of nowhere? So, well, let's look. Let's maybe can we pick who the Cinderella is going to be this year, guys? I don't know who it's going to be, but looking. You guys want to start with the I guess it's the West region and kind of look at what's shaking out over there. I don't know if you got the bracket in front of you.
Yeah. Well, that's Gonzaga's region, right? So you've got Gonzaga and Duke is the top 2.
Yeah.
Overall, I've got Gonzaga coming out, but I've got I'm looking at my bracket here. I've got in the second round a Duke Davidson matchup. Now that's really interesting. I really want to pick Davidson there just for Stevie, but the surprise team that I've got on that side, Billy, is Rutgers.
Yes, absolutely.
I have them actually going to the Elite 8 in my bracket.
Oh my gosh.
That might be a little, but that's my sort of
wow.
Maybe that'd be a Cinderella.
I like that pick, Chris. They knocked off Purdue early in the year. They've had some other close games and good wins. I mean, they're Rutgers, but they've got a good basketball team. They really do. So I don't think that's a crazy. I mean, maybe 8 might be pushing it.
Yes.
So who do you have them upsetting to get that far?
Well, they played Texas Tech in the second round. Okay. Well, they have to beat Bama first. But Bama, we've talked. They sort of fell off at the end of the year. The Texas Tech matchup, Texas Tech reminds me of us a couple of years ago. Of course, we beat them in the title game, but they're really good defensively. So that'd be a tough game. But then if they win that, they would then go up against the Davidson Duke winner. So I guess likely Duke there. But so those would be 2 significant upsets with Texas Tech, who was good all year, and then if they were to beat Duke in the Sweet 16.
I like how you got that shaping out. I mean, so up high, it looks like you got Gonzaga kind of working its way down. I've got Memphis beating Boise State, but that's not really an upset, I don't think.
Boise State's good. I mean, that's a good team, but you're right. I mean, Memphis seems to be hot.
They're hot.
We know they've got talent. So
they do.
Yeah. And guess who beat Memphis in the regular season though?
ECU.
East Carolina.
Right.
I'm right. You had a decent basketball team this year. That's not a
And look, and they got rid of their coach.
Right.
wow, really?
Yes, he had 1 year. He had 1 year remaining on his contract, and they got rid of him. So
Wow.
they're like, I don't understand the logic behind that because they were headed in the right direction. They lost their their best player to Virginia in the transfer portal, and they still managed to have a pretty good year for East Carolina basketball. And let's get rid of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So
No.
UConn, I hadn't really watched UConn much, but is UConn good? I don't. I mean,
They've got some nice pieces, Billy.
They
I
do?
think they win that first matchup. To me, that could be interesting. Then if you have, I watched, and it wasn't just because they beat UMBC, but I watched Vermont in their title game, and Vermont is a good basketball team. And so that would be an interesting matchup if it was UConn Vermont in the second round,
wow.
because Vermont is a again, they can shoot it, they got good rebounders, but UConn is definitely more talented.
So you think Vermont can get beyond Arkansas? I mean, Arkansas is a good basketball team.
I know. I felt a couple of those SEC teams kind of slipping there at the end.
Yeah.
Arkansas being one of them. So, and again, I looked at Vermont as kind of a more complete team.
All right. Hey, listen, man, you scouted Vermont. I'm pretty impressed. So that's doing your homework.
Anytime somebody watches Vermont, no offense to Vermont, I'm not
I know.
Sit there and watch
You have done your homework.
Hey, they've had some runs in the tournament before. They're always there. Vermont is typically, year in, year out, they're either kind of right there in their conference, and then, that'll depend on if they make the tournament. But it's a good basketball team.
All right, Chris, you heard it here, guys. That Alabama, so they're playing whoever's in the playing game, I guess. It's not showing on my bracket. Who would
it's Rutgers and Notre Dame.
Oh, Rutgers. So yeah, okay. So you got Rutgers beating Notre Dame and then beating Alabama?
Yes.
Wow. That's gutsy, but I like it. I like it, Chris.
This isn't the time of year to be safe. Come on, guys. You know that.
You're right. I totally agree with you. It has, reminds me of the year we had now that's having to go back while the state had to, when they made the Sweet 16, they had to start in the playing game and beat UConn to kind of make their run. So it can happen. They can pull this off. So Texas Tech, they're playing pretty good basketball right now. So I mean, I don't know how far they can go, but
they've got a good defense, a really good defense. So, that if that's on, that can take you far. Those will be some good matchups though along the way.
Yeah, I think that could turn out to be a really, really good matchup up there. And then you've got the Michigan. So you got Davidson maybe beat Michigan State. Which Michigan State, I wouldn't be shocked. I think that's a gutsy call, but I think it could totally happen. Have you been watching Davidson play?
Well, I watched them the other day because again, they were in our backyard, Billy. They played their tournament. Right. It was in DC, and they lost to Richmond, of course. So Richmond in the field. I mean, all these other Virginia schools except for UVA made it in, which hurts, right? If I see Richmond, Tech, Longwood, Norfolk State, UVA not in there. I mean, it was a great year it was a great year for the state as far as the tournament goes. But I was intrigued by that. It was a heck of a game too if you watch it. But again, Davidson, and they've been here in my backyard too at George Mason playing in the A10. So that's, again, they can shoot, and Michigan State seems to have been kind of up and down. But it's always hard to go against Izzo.
Yeah,
in the tournament,
But Davidson's one of those can pull an upset on you. I mean,
I'd watch out for Davidson. Davidson's.
Yeah. So let's just put. I mean, right. So for us, the juiciest one is Davidson Duke in the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a really interesting, again, interstate matchup, right?
Yeah, that would be.
I mean, I wrote Davidson down on my bracket. I don't know if it'll happen, but that would be quite the show.
How bad would it be for the Duke fans? As bad as it was for Carolina to go in Cameron and do that, how bad would it be for Davidson to come up and take them out in the round of 32 on Coach K's last game. That would be they would be crushed. They wouldn't come out for weeks.
They would come out for weeks. You're probably right, Steve. You are probably right. Oh man.
But you know what? I would not doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised. The way it's going right now, and I said this on the last show, or Duke was not a national championship contender. And I think that's been proven now. Unless something they get a wild hair or in something and they decide to start playing with a little more intensity, that's missing. They don't have the intensity, like you said, Billy, and to get after the ball. They're out there, just like you said, the key word was entitled. They're out there like, we're Duke basketball. We're supposed to win. We're going to step on the court and we're going to win. No, it's not going to happen that way now.
It does not appear so at this point. That's for sure. The way things looks like things are shaking.
Let's just straight to. I do not think Carolina is going to win the national championship, because I had people, Duke fans, ask me when I said that on the last show. So you think Carolina's going to win the national championship? No, I'm being realistic. Carolina is a hot and cold team. Carolina got on a little hot streak there at the end. Man, can they make a little run in tournament? Maybe so, but I don't see Carolina as a national championship contender either.
How are we at the point that your measure of success is winning the national championship? Holy crap! Like that's like, I mean, hey, any Sweet 16 and beyond is a hell of a basketball year. For whoever gets that far. So I mean,
not if you're a Duke Blue Devil. When you came into this year with the big recruit, do you think the Duke fans are going to be saying, if they get to the Sweet 16, say, well, we got to the Sweet 16, that's pretty good? No,
you're right. You're right. I agree.
That's not gonna be satisfying to them. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that is fair. So on this bracket in the West, we've got kind of Gonzaga going all the way to the end. Got a few upsets in here, but eventually, I think, what do we all kind of have Gonzaga rise into the top over here?
Yeah, I've got Gonzaga.
All right, I think so too. I mean, well, will they finally get it done this year? I don't know. So, do we want to move to the East?
Yeah, let's just go to the East.
Okay, so we got Baylor over there. Baylor's been interesting, this year, but they're sitting at number one seed. Shouldn't be really struggling Norfolk State. I don't think, but hey, you never know with those number 1 and 16 seeds, how that's going to shake out. So
UVA gave all 16 seeds the Dumb and Dumber line. So you're telling me there's a chance? There is a chance. There is a chance.
Telling me there's a chance. I honestly think in the East, your top 2 seeds don't make it to the regional finals. I don't think they make it to the finals.
All right. Well, who do you think's going to make it?
I'm thinking Kentucky falls and Baylor falls before they get there. Watch out for UCLA. I think UCLA is going to be somebody you got to contend with right now.
Okay. I like that. Now, question, Steve. You see Carolina get past Marquette?
Well, we lost the last game, so we're due on this game. Honest to God, let me tell you this: how I feel about that. We did the whole Carolina wins, Carolina loses. I didn't feel as bad after watching that Virginia Tech game when we lost, because Virginia Tech was a good team and playing really good basketball.
Yeah.
It wasn't like early in the year when we were losing to Pitt or somebody like that. It wasn't like that. We lost to a good team. We got outplayed. And then when they beat Duke by 2 more points than they beat us, by the way, that kind of solidified it for me that, Virginia Tech's on a roll right now. And that's somebody, Carolina's Carolina's playing a lot better basketball than they did halfway through the year. The last half of the year, they played better. But they are not, that Marquette, I think they can get past Marquette. I really do. I think they can get past Marquette. It's going to be a struggle, but I think they'll get past Marquette. Now, when we get to the next round, that's a different story.
So, Chris, you think they'll get past Marquette?
I have them getting past Marquette, but not Baylor. I think that defensively they can lock down some of the advantages that Marquette would have against somebody else, but with Leaky Black, and I feel like UNC can win that one.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's really a bad matchup for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think Baylor is though.
I would agree with that.
You're talking about the defending national champions.
Yeah, absolutely. The number one seed. So
a lot more experienced team, and that's the key. I mean, I hate to keep harping on that, but experience is the key here. And
hey, Carolina gets to win as the underdog, just like when they went into Duke. So maybe that's the role they want to play. So if they go against
Baylor, I mean, you look at the past and tournaments in the past when Carolina's had a mediocre team.
Yeah.
And it's gone up. I look back at 19, was it 87 or 80? It was 88. Carolina, second round. Carolina's the 8th seed going in the tournament. Gets past that game and faces the number 1 seed, Oklahoma. And Rick Fox hits a shot as time expired, and they get the win 79-77. So Carolina does play. Seems like sometimes they play better as the underdog, but we'll see. This is a different story. This is a different generation. We'll see about that. They're going to have to really, really be on their A game to upset Baylor.
Agreed. So so after that you got the St. Mary's, I guess, playing the winner at Wyoming or Indiana, which I think I have no idea who's going to win that game between Wyoming and Indiana, but Indiana sneaking into the tournament was pretty interesting considering, but I guess they got in. So I'm assuming St. Mary's wins that game. Is that kind of where you guys have it too, or are you guys pulling an upset there?
I've got St. Mary's. I liked what I saw. I watched them a few times against Gonzaga, when they were on the national TV schedule. They're good. And again, they've got some good. I mean, it all comes down to their defense and their shooting. I think they can beat either one of those teams. But then, as Stevie pointed out, the next, the second round, if UCLA beats Akron, which I think they would, that would again put you in an interesting spot for a matchup, because I think either one of those teams might be able to beat Baylor. But I would probably lean towards UCLA on that.
I think if it's the St. Mary's UCLA, I think that's gonna be one hell of a game. I really do. If that's the way it shakes out. But and you're right. I think either one of those teams could beat Baylor if Baylor makes that far. So that looks like it's shaping up to be pretty interesting over there. Beyond that, you got Texas. Now listen, all right. So this is my thing. Texas is playing Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been super hot. Can they keep on the streak? Or do you think they're going to be a little deflated from the ACC championship win? But you see, so sometimes it's a bit of a hangover. What do you guys think?
I think the worst thing for Virginia Tech right now is the layoff. I mean, if the NCAA tournament had started the next day, Virginia Tech would probably go out and mop the floor with somebody again. But I think they can get past Texas. I think they will upset Texas. Purdue, that's a different story. That'll be a good game. That'll be a tough matchup for Virginia Tech. But, who knows? Virginia Tech could be – you just look back in history at how teams started, how national championship teams started to get on a roll. And
1983?
Exactly what I was getting ready to say right then. 1983. What did State do? They got on a roll. And that ACC tournament was what got them there. Virginia Tech is kind of going by that same blueprint right now. I mean, they're a hot team. They won the tournament and to get in.
They've got age. I mean, they've got experience.
They've got experience, yeah. So
Now maybe not
do
experience in
not
the tournament. So that's kind of the
do what?
question. They don't have experience in the tournament. I don't know if any
Well,
of them guys played.
okay. Did NC State in '83 have experience in tournament? They lost first round in '82.
Good.
They
Yep.
lost in the first
They were
round.
there. At least they
So I mean, but you just you won the ACC tournament.
right.
You're on a roll. I think they can get past Texas. Texas is one of those teams that can be hot and they can be cold as well. I mean, believe me, my brother is a Texas football fan. I think he follows a little bit of Texas basketball, so I hear about it. But Texas is one of those hot and cold teams as well. And I think Virginia Tech gets past them. Purdue, that's going to be because I think Purdue gets to Yale. That's going to be tough. But I tell you this: whoever wins that Purdue Virginia Tech game is going to take out Kentucky.
Yeah, I've got Tech with the upset as well, but I've got Purdue in the Final Four, so that tells you how I feel there.
They're throwing a little Indiana love over there, huh?
Well, I've got some family connections there with my wife's family. She got two sisters that went there, and I went to the Purdue Iowa game several years ago at Mackey, which was amazing, a great spot for college basketball. My only worrisome there is they're defensively they're inconsistent.
Yeah.
And so as I look at that matchup with Tech and Purdue, Purdue has some size in the interior, but Keve Aluma he's crafty, so I think that he can move around and maybe, use that to his advantage. But I do like Purdue sort of up and down on the roster, kind of going to the Final Four in the East.
See, this is my issue with Purdue. They were super close to getting beat by North Carolina State. So you can't be so good, get beat by State and take it overtime. So that concerns me a bit for Purdue. I actually
How long ago was that though?
It was early. It was early.
Yeah.
It was early.
Yeah.
So, but and Purdue's definitely still been playing some great basketball. I've got Virginia Tech Purdue and pulling two big wins out, but I'm with you, Chris. I mean, Purdue's a really good basketball team. But I don't know. I think Virginia Tech still got a little bit in the tank. I don't have them getting any further than Purdue. I actually think Kentucky is going to get the win over there, but Kentucky's playing good basketball right now. I don't know.
So who do you guys have in the winning that region?
So I have. Let me go back. You go ahead.
Because I've got Purdue.
I'm sticking with UCLA. I think UCLA is going to come out of there with it. I think UCLA gets to the Final Four.
And I had Kentucky in there. So I don't want it, but I've got it. That's the way it kind of shook out on the list. So moving to other side over here, South Arizona. Sean Miller, I guess they do not miss you in Arizona. They seem to move on from Sean Miller, and they're doing just fine. So I have not watched Arizona really play a lot of ball. I've seen clips here and there. I don't know if you guys have watched them, but from what I hear and what I see highlights, they have a really good basketball team. Obviously, they're number one seed. What are our thoughts on Arizona? Are they that good?
They're pretty darn good. Really, I've watched them a few times. Yeah, they've got some really good prospects, and it's the start of the Mark Few coaching tree, right? Yeah. One of his longtime assistants there. So, and I look at the region, to me, it kind of breaks pretty well for them until because I've got them sort of chalked to the, but then I've also got, and over here I've got Tennessee, who I also really like, going to the Elite Eight to face them.
Tennessee is on a roll.
Tennessee is on. They play well up and down. So anyway, that's how I see it. But I still have ultimately I've got Arizona coming out of that region.
Yeah, I think that's where I had a fall too. I tell you, one game is going to be a good game to watch. Is that Seton Hall TCU game? I got TCU winning, but I think that'd be a good basketball game. The way that shakes out, I think those two teams will evenly match. Houston's had a good basketball team. I mean, we're kind of overlooking Houston, but I mean, do they make some noise in the tournament or?
I think I feel like they've had some injuries to some key people. but
They have.
they've still kept playing well. But if they had their full complement of guys, I might say, maybe they would give Arizona more of a challenge. But I have them going to the Sweet 16, which, outside of Cameron, that's a good year, just based on everything that's been happening. But yeah, they're solid. They can beat you a couple different ways, but they've got some good athletes.
Not the Phi Slamma Jamma of the days of old, but
no, it's not Clyde direction of Hakeem Olajuwon, that's for sure.
No.
Did they? I didn't see. Did they beat Memphis in their conference tournament?
Yes,
they did.
Yeah, I didn't see one.
Yeah. Maybe they did. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure they did.
I trust Chris. So now Illinois is another one of those. They've got a pretty darn good basketball team, but kind of quiet. So I don't know.
The radar.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can fly under the radar here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've got the big man in the middle, right? They've got some shooters around him. I've watched them play a few different times, and they seem to fumble things away. Like when it's crunch time, I saw that a few times in the regular season and in the Big Ten tournament. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's a really interesting matchup. I mean, who can really match up with Coburn? Nobody really. But I still think that, again, in that hypothetical, I have them beating Chattanooga,
right?
But then I've got Houston taking them out.
Wow. So. Okay. That might turn out to be a pretty good game. But it looks like over there, Arizona's in a pretty good position.
I think Colorado State's definitely going to the second round.
Yeah. So hey, listen, this is where Jen has to pull out. My wife needs to pull out her stuff. She has a master's from Colorado State. She went to grad school there. So she had her school's in, my school's out. So apparently,
does she have any gear, Billy? Did you buy her a shirt or a jacket or something to wear?
I bought her a sweatshirt about maybe a few years back when they got in the tournament. So now she probably has no idea where it is. I don't know if she's ever worn it, but I will tell her to pull it out and represent Colorado State.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Yeah, and I'm with you guys. Hopefully they knock out Michigan. I think Michigan's a mess right now.
Yeah.
They should have never got in the way they did, but what it is.
It's questionable for me whether they should even been invited to the NIT the way they played. I mean, this is a team that when Carolina wasn't playing good basketball, crushed. I mean, they were overrated from the start of the season, and I don't see. I was shocked, honestly. That was one of the most shocking things I've seen in a long time in the NCAA tournament, that they were a number 11 seed, that they even made the tournament. I mean, I don't know what the deal is there, but there's something there. I don't want to be conspiracy theory guy, but when a 14-12, this looks like the high school basketball state playoffs, when a team that wins 2 games makes the state playoff game. I mean, 14-12. If I'm a Michigan alumni, I'm like, you need to turn down the invitation to the NCAA tournament because you don't deserve to be there.
I don't think they're going to do that, but who knows? Maybe they pull it together. You just never know. So as long as the coach doesn't try to fight anybody, maybe they'll be okay.
I don't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that. Whoa. You're going to have Juwan Howard coming looking for you, bud.
By the way, I thought that was a slap on the wrist for what he pulled. I know it wasn't a folded like a fist punch, but it can't strike somebody.
I agree with you. A coach has got to be a little more controlled than that. And also, though,
this coming from the guy that Carolina football coach tackled the state coach, but
but listen, you can't. As far as the other coach goes, you can't put your hands on. Like I haven't got physical, but I've got in a much bigger coach's face because he put his hands on one of my players. And
that's a big difference.
You don't put. But look, no, that guy the guy he punched had his hands on one of the Michigan players.
Oh, I see. I
mean,
didn't see that.
He put his hand. That's what the whole talking thing was fine. That was the Wisconsin coach. They were talking, and he was letting him know what he thought about it. But when your assistant coach comes up there, and whether you mean to any harm or not, you don't put your hand, especially on you don't put your hand on another team's player.
Yeah. Well,
that's like
you were referring to the Wisconsin coach because that's what Juwan Howard. He grabbed me. I'm like, he didn't grab you. He just stopped you to tell you something, and you.
Yeah. Well, that was fine. I didn't have a problem with that because they were talking, and he wanted to get his point across about what Juwan Howard was upset about. Right. But when the assistant coach from Wisconsin, when everything started breaking down and they started huddling around, and the Wisconsin coach put his hands on that Michigan player, then do I think Juwan Howard should have punched him? No, he shouldn't have punched him, but that guy was in the wrong for putting his hands on another team's player.
But it was still an altercation. But anyway,
I can tell you a big story. Yeah,
he will be coaching, and let's see if he has his team pumped and ready to go. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that moves on. So Tennessee, we all agree Tennessee's hot. Now listen, we're going a little old school with ACC here. Rick Barnes. I thought Rick Barnes was gone. Like, I mean, where did this? I mean, comes out of nowhere, Tennessee, and has got them playing some really great basketball. So I mean, I never was a Rick Barnes fan. I know Steve, you can't be as a Carolina fan, but he's doing good coaching right now. So Rick Barnes, old time ACC, Tennessee. How far are they going to go, guys?
I got them going to the Elite Eight. Taking out Villanova in the Sweet 16, which would be a really interesting matchup. But yeah, and I think that Barnes, he's been coaching since he's been at Tennessee. He's been pretty successful. Yeah. So this is probably as much notoriety as how they've been going into the tournament, just coming off the championship. So I've got them going against Arizona. I just think that Arizona's pretty much head and shoulders about everybody, but. I've got them taking out Tennessee in the Elite Eight.
All right, I had Tennessee making a good.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. I think Tennessee, they go through the tournament till they get to Arizona, and Arizona definitely makes the Final Four out of the South.
We probably just screwed Tennessee, and Longwood's going to knock them out first round. But
and that right there, that would top any of the biggest tournament upsets ever. That would be the capper right there. That would be the one right there.
No, I don't think that beats the 16 beating a 1, but
not only a 1, Billy, the number one overall. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there. As I said, I'm numb to losing after that. I mean, it's
you can joke about it when you win the national championship the next year.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter. So all right, Ohio State. So what? They've been all over the place this year. Do they get through the first round? How far do they go?
I mean, last year I think they lost in the first round too. I've got them losing to Loyola Chicago. That seems to be like a trending or some sort of a sexy pick, but
whatever work for Magic for Loyola.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the big upset pick every year now.
Right. Exactly.
Go get
But I mean, Ohio State's got they've got some ballers. They can play, but I just, it just seems like they haven't quite have it. We talked about Virginia Tech and Tennessee, some of these teams. To me, one of the common elements there is they're in sync with their coach. And to me, Ohio State, when you're out of sync like that, coming into these pressure situations where you got to win and you're playing a good basketball team who you might not have scouted, you've been scouring the Big Ten, and it's a tough conference. But someone like Loyola Chicago, I think that they could again come in there and win that game.
It wouldn't be a huge shot by any means. So, and you guys obviously Villanova getting over Delaware, but they're going to play like
Vanilla Ice is in the tournament this year.
So Villanova gets past. I know I've got Ohio State making it past Loyola Chicago and beating Villanova. I'm not sold on Villanova. I could be wrong, but I don't think they really had to play a lot of tough teams this year. I don't think they're super strong.
No.
I think they're in a position to lose. But again, that's kind of one of my upset picks. I have Ohio State beating them, going a little bit further, and then getting beat by Tennessee. What do you guys think? How far you guys got Villanova going?
I mean, I give Nova the edge only because I think that Jay Wright, he can coach in March. And he's proven that. And this team has been good. They've got some, again, we go back to experience. They've got some experienced guys. So, it's just, you don't, just because of everything else going on, we haven't tracked them as close, but they're a really solid team, about 8 deep. So that's, to me, with the coaching aspect to it, I put them sort of above. I have them taking out whoever in the second round. I have them going to the Sweet 16, but then losing to Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I've got too.
Okay. So it looks like everything's shaping up. I mean, no crazy. We've got a few teams kind of with some upsets in the beginning, but everything kind of starts and kind of, the higher seed teams seem to be rising. So for the Final Four, so West, we've got Gonzaga, correct? Is what you guys thought. I also agree. Yeah. The East, I actually had Kentucky. You guys said Purdue. Is that correct?
I had UCLA.
Yeah, I had Purdue.
All right. So UCLA, Purdue, or Kentucky is what we're looking at there. And then over in the South, you guys got Arizona going all the way there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have Tennessee going all the way there, just to be different.
Yeah,
I know that's a stretch. I got Tennessee making a run. Rick Barnes has some more in the tank, and then that takes us all the way to the Midwest, which we hadn't covered the Midwest, have we? Sorry,
we hadn't covered that.
Yeah, so going to the Midwest. So Kansas, well, don't pick against Kansas, right, guys? Like, I mean, they're pretty good. So I don't see anything slowing them down necessarily. I will ask, so San Diego State, Creighton, what do you guys think on that game? That looks like a pretty good matchup.
I mean, 2 really good defensive teams. Yeah, I've got San Diego State because their defense is a little bit, but both of them, that's going to be a grinder. Yeah. Each of them kind of can have trouble scoring. But again, I just think that San Diego State has a pretty good pedigree in March. I don't see either one. I do have Kansas going to the Sweet 16 though, over whoever that winner is.
I would agree. I actually have Creighton winning, but I think that could go either way, for sure. So my dark horse is Iowa.
Yes.
All right, let's compare dark horses.
Me and Billy finally agree on something.
So okay, so all 3 of us. So where do you guys have Iowa going then?
I have Iowa actually going to the Final Four.
So do I.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Steve, what about you?
I've got Iowa coming out of this region. I just
wow.
That's a team to watch out for.
I mean, listen, if they can knock off Kansas is a really good basketball team. So, I mean, that's asking a lot, but I like this Iowa team. I mean, now, again, we just, Richmond's going to knock them out the first round now, probably, since we just said
that.
But,
sorry, Coach McCaffrey.
Sorry, we really screwed you, Iowa. But, yeah, I really like this team. They're playing great ball. And, I mean, so, if they get through the Richmond game, they're going against a Providence or South Dakota State, which, listen, Providence has had a good year. I mean, in higher seed than Iowa, but I think they get through that. I mean, I think they match up well to get to, to get that far. So, yeah, wow. We were in agreement with that one.
I don't think that there's a better, less known player in the country than Keegan Murray. He is about as smooth as there is.
Yeah.
Near the basket, away from the basket. And so I was able to, as I said, scout the Big Ten quite a bit. But of course, UVA played Iowa in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. And they were just crushing us. I mean, absolutely crushing us. Now, that wasn't anything new this season. But we came back, and I think they only beat us by 1. I mean, we had a shot to win it that sort of went in and out. But that is a really good basketball team. McCaffrey switches up the defense. They've got some really good leaders. And like I said, having Murray, I mean, he is just so smooth. When you need a score, he gets it, and he doesn't look rushed. He doesn't look flustered. He's just really smooth and really good. And they've been that way all year, really consistent. And getting through the Big Ten is a big deal. So yeah, here I was thinking I was onto something, and then all of a sudden, you guys, all three of us, what are the odds?
We messed that up, didn't we? But well, maybe we were all going to be right, or we're all going to be wrong. So this one, so we'll see how that shakes out. So LSU is a pretty good seed, but Will Wade is now gone. He left in a little bit of a scandal from Richmond, and it just kept carrying on. So he is no longer.
Yeah.
I've got LSU losing first round. I think they're just in shambles.
Yeah, same here. Too much off the court stuff.
It's too much. Yeah, you lost your coach. I just don't see it. So I see them get upset the first round. Wisconsin's been one of those teams that's been interesting. I mean, I think they get past Colgate, but how far they go, I know. With Bennett, you have a lot of connections to Wisconsin, Chris. So
yes, yeah, but they have one of the best players. Having Johnny Davis, I think, gets them at least to the Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
And I don't particularly view whether it's that 6-11 matchup. That to me, that's one of the less intriguing games of the tournament. Maybe because of everything going on with LSU, but to me, I just feel like Wisconsin feels like a Sweet 16 team. But that's as far as I have them going.
Yeah, I would agree. But they got a solid team. So it'll be fun to see them play Michigan again, huh?
Just hope, I was going to say, just hope Juwan Howard doesn't show up.
That'd be interesting. So USC, Miami. I think this is going to be one hell of a game. I love this matchup. So what do you think on this one?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I've got USC only because I think they're not a lot by a lot, but just marginally more talent. They've got some really talented players. My dad went to USC, so I follow them pretty closely. And Engfield's done a really good job of building a program pretty quickly. And I feel like they have enough talent to win that first round, but probably not enough to get past Auburn. But I do think that you're right, Billy. That's, to me, like as not intriguing as LSU Iowa State is to me, USC Miami is like must see TV.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna be a great game. I expect a lot of scoring there.
And I'm with you. I think at the end, Miami just doesn't have enough. USC squeaks it out, but I think that's gonna be a really good one to watch. Now whoever wins that, I don't think it's getting past all. I'm with you. It's not getting past Auburn. So Steve, I hate to tell you, but your boy is playing really, really good basketball at Auburn.
I know. I know.
So, he looks good. So they got him and the cheater Pearl. So we'll see how they do. But they're
now you're gonna have Charles Barkley after you, Billy. You know that, right?
I probably don't want that. So Charles will probably agree with me. We all know that's the case. Kessler is playing a ball. I know. I don't. He is.
I mean, there was no doubt about it. I didn't. When he decided to leave Carolina, I knew that was going to be a big loss.
Yeah.
But, fell into a great spot.
Yeah. So Auburn, I've got going pretty far. How far you guys got Auburn going?
I got them losing to Iowa in the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Okay. That's where I had them.
So
now I could totally see that going in another way. Big part of me wanted to pick Auburn there. For some reason I picked Iowa, but and none of us have Kansas there, which is weird. But we do not have Kansas there. So it looks like we've got this thing shaping up as a Gonzaga. I know you guys had Arizona, I had Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
UCLA, Purdue, or Kentucky in the East, and then Iowa. So we each had Gonzaga and Iowa.
Yeah.
And then a little bit.
And then me and Chris both had Arizona.
Right.
So that's the Final Four. So what do we got shaping up for the championship game?
I've got the student taking down the teacher, Arizona over Gonzaga.
Oh,
Let's.
Ooh,
I've got it. I've got the score 74-66.
jeez.
oh.
I definitely, right now, unless an injury happens or something like that, I think Arizona wins the whole thing. They're playing the best ball out of anybody. Um, if I'm going that, I'll say Gonzaga beats UCLA in the Final Four, gets to the championship game. I think it might be I'll say like a 68-64 game, Arizona over Gonzaga.
I've got Gonzaga going all the way. And then let's see, I have what? I have Iowa and Arizona. Throw it. Let me throw Iowa in there. If we're
There
going
you
all
go.
in, let's go all in. But I think this is going to be Gonzaga's year. I know I'm going to be wrong. It never seems to be, right? But I'll go Gonzaga all the way. I think Arizona. It's just they've had a great year, but I don't know. At some point, I think the Magic's going to run out.
Hey,
On those
Billy, maybe
guys.
this is Gonzaga's redemption, right? They
Maybe.
got. Let's be honest, they got embarrassed in the title game
That's
last year,
true.
right? I mean, just
Yeah.
wiped off, and so again, we've seen it play out in other ways. They've been on a mission. Good ball club, well coached, etc. But yeah, like I said, I think that Arizona would win, but I can see that that's the storyline for Gonzaga to pick up on. That's the redemption for them.
And they've been there. I mean, you just, I don't know. It can't be enough.
It's also really hard to get back, right?
It
I
is.
mean, when you've
Right.
been there,
Yeah. It's
so
it's like this guy said about the Super Bowl. It's like, we'll get back. You never get back, right? So it's, one time's hard, twice is incredible. So I don't love.
But you look at some of these teams that have been to a national championship game, lost, and then come back the following year to win. Carolina back in 18, they lost to Villanova in 17 on that last second shot, and then came back and beat Gonzaga in 18. I think it was 2017 and 18. I may be wrong on the year.
So do we know how many times Gonzaga has been in the final game and still not won?
Hold on, I'll tell you.
5, 4? A lot.
Four seems high, but maybe not. Maybe that is.
I mean, that's maybe 4. If it's 4, that's I don't know. Stevie's doing his research. We'll see how that shakes out. I don't know. We will. You very well may be right about Arizona, because they are playing well. I still think Auburn is, as much as I hate to say it, is playing really good basketball right now. So I think we might. I wouldn't be surprised to see Auburn get there as well, but I just can't do it. I can't pick for Pearl. Can't do it. It's too hard.
They've only been to 2, Billy.
Right,
really?
they've been to 2. So this would be, if they made it this year, Billy, that would be the 3rd.
I was way off. Okay, so
they last year and the Carolina year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We will see if they can rise and get it there. So let's clear. We're going to have some upsets. I say maybe we get through the first week of the tournament. We get towards the Sweet 16. Maybe we kind of regroup, talk this thing through again, and see who was right, who was wrong. I'm right. You guys are going to be wrong.
Oh, okay.
We'll give Stevie a chance to pile on Duke some more, which is always fun. And talk about how
I'm not doing it unless somebody is provoking me, and the Duke fans have provoked me, and I haven't had a chance to be on here since that game. And it is what it is. You act like. Here's the thing. Here's another thing too. All the Duke fans talking about, well, you were disrespectful to Coach K on his last time. You were disrespectful. I mean, are we supposed to believe that no Duke fan has ever been disrespectful to Dean Smith or Roy Williams or any of the ACC coaches out there? I mean, especially the Carolina, and I'm just using the Carolina coaches just because of the rivalry. Do you think there hadn't been some bad things said about Dean Smith or Roy Williams by Duke fans over the years, okay, whatever. I mean,
Well, one thing we know next year with Tobacco Road Weekly, the show's going to be shorter because Stevie can't go on a tirade on Krzyzewski for 20 minutes. So that's good.
hey, I'm already getting stuff on John Shire already.
Oh man.
Hey,
Well,
and look, if Chris
yeah.
Carrawell is back next year, I'll have something there too.
That's true. That's true. Wow. It's good stuff. Well, guys, Chris said it in the beginning. This is fun time. Sit back, watch the basketball. Chris, you're closer than Stevie, but we get closer to Sweet 16. I get you over here. We'll have to watch the games from here and see how our picks play out in the long run. So,
well, and can we agree next year? The ACC tournament's in DC. So can we get Stevie up here?
Stevie,
can we get you up here, Stevie?
Chris, I've been trying to get Stevie up here for over 20 years, and he's
now we got the tournament.
I knew that. I knew that was coming.
I'm not exaggerating, but maybe he'll come for the tournament.
Yeah,
maybe.
We'll see about that.
All right.
Heard it here. But Chris, you and I will be there. That's actually my memories came up on my Facebook, and our last trip on the ACC tournament came.
That was
up.
awesome. There's nothing like it.
We're in. So I'm glad it wasn't this year because state was horrible. Maybe we'll play a little bit better next year.
Well, I mean, you might not want to go next year, Billy. Then
it can't be worse. I don't think.
Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that.
Hey, how's it gonna get worse?
Don't ever say that, Billy. It can get worse.
Oh gosh. So we've got some good basketball guys. Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks for riding again tonight with us. Strap in, watch some basketball this week. Enjoy yourselves. We'll regroup in about a week and see where everything lands. Take care, guys. We're out.
We did have a few comments tonight, guys. We did have a few comments. So we had a few guys right here. We're doing, we did something different tonight on Facebook Live. And if you want to check us out at Tobacco Road Weekly on Facebook, check us out, like our page, like us on Twitter, and check out, we'll have our YouTube channel up and running now. But check us out, and like I said, appreciate you guys coming in. We had a few people come in and listen, and to listen to three guys ramble on about ACC basketball for an hour. You're doing pretty good. You must not have anything else to do tonight.
Hey guys, when Iowa goes to the Final Four, this is going viral. I'm just saying. Okay,
all
three of us together.
Yeah. Geniuses.
Right.
Yeah.
There'll be fatheads of us in the crowd. These three guys picked us.
Hey, I will make sure I hashtag Iowa on here.
There you go.
And their Twitter on here. So Iowa fans, you better look out for us.
We're in. All right, awesome. Take care, guys.
All right, guys, y'all have a great one.